I love the Hellboy board game from Mantic Games. I think it's super fun. I think it's super thematic. Loved what they did with it. So when I heard that they were doing a dice game for Hellboy, I was kind of intrigued. I would love to have something that's kind of close to what the board game gives you, just in a smaller form. So let's take a look at the Hellboy Dice Game, and I will tell you whether or not I think that this lives up to that expectation. Hey everyone, welcome to Victory Condition Gaming. My name is Doug. Today on the show, we're reviewing Hellboy the Dice Game. This is a 2 to, 4 or 5 player dice game. It doesn't really say how many players it is on the box. I would say you could probably play a 2 to 6 player pretty easily. But yeah, it's a little push your luck game. I'm going to take a look at it. We're going to talk a little bit about it, what I like about it, what I don't like about it, and, who is this for? If you like these types of videos, hit the like button down below. If you're coming across our channel for the very first time, please feel free to hit that subscribe button. Yeah, a few years ago, Mantic Games put out a board game for Hellboy, and it was super good. I thought it was probably their best board game to date. I'm trying to think of what other games would probably top it. I think, the Walking Dead All-Out War game was super good as well, but that's kind of a miniatures game. So I think that one doesn't quite qualify, but I think that the quality of minis that were in that game were also the same quality of the minis that were in Hellboy. So I really like it. I thought that they did a great job with it. They had a great team behind the creation of that game, and when it came out and was delivered to Kickstarter backers, it did really well, and I hope it's done really well in retail for them as well. But they announced about a year or so ago that they were going to be putting out a Hellboy Dice Game, and I got a copy right here. We're going to go to the table, take a look at it, and see what's included. I'll try to explain a little bit of how it works. It's very much a push your luck dice game where you're trying to collect clues. But let's go to the table and take a look. So this is Hellboy the Dice Game. This is the box that it comes in. I will say that the box that it comes in is heavy duty. It's nice. It's if you have the boxes for the board game, it is right up in that quality of box. So it's nice, reinforced. It's not really going to break or rip or anything when you put it in your backpack or whatever. You've got a sheet of paper for the rules. It's a really simple game. We'll talk a little bit about that in a little bit. It comes with a small deck of cards. I don't know how many cards are here, but yeah, it comes with a whole bunch of cards. These are like your warehouse cards, I guess. Basically, you're fighting through a warehouse trying to collect clues. It also comes with dice. Right away, I'm going to say that if you have the Hellboy board game and you're looking for more dice for your game, so then that way you don't have to share dice at the table, this is a really good way to do it. You're going to get a little card game along with it. So yeah, it's I'll talk about that more later on in this review. You also get these 3 little these are wound cubes. So when everybody plays, they have 3 wounds that they suffer before they lose their clues or whatnot. At the start of every game, the game takes place over the course of rounds, and a player gets the 3 wound cubes and the dice. Once they use the dice have varying degrees of success with them. So basically, the black die is the best die, of course. This is going to give you a minimum of 1 success all the way up to a possibility of 4 successes. And then the yellow dice basically have a 50% chance of getting 1 success. The orange dice give you some chances of 2 chances of blanks, 2 chances of 1s, and I think 2 chances of 2s. And then the reds are 1, 2, 3. They have 1 blank, 2 1s, 2 2s, a 3, and a blank. And then you also have this effect die. This effect die always gets rolled with your roll. So to start out gameplay, a player is always going to draw a card. In that card, it tells you how many clues that this card is worth, how many hits you have to basically achieve on the die in order to defeat the card, and then it also has wounds down here at the bottom as to if you don't roll any hits, then that's how many wounds you're going to take. Once you hit 3 wounds, your turn is automatically over, and you lose all the clues that you have earned for that session. So in this case, what I would do is I would take some dice. So here, let's just say I want to take 3 of these yellow dice, and you can take up to 3 of the dice. You're going to take, I'll say I'm going to take 3 of these yellow dice and a blue die. I'm going to roll it, and I rolled, as you can see, 5 hits, so it definitely decimates this one. So I win that one, and I can keep going. So basically, I'm going to go till either my life is done or the dice that I have in front of me get used up, because once you roll these dice, they go to the next person. And you are going to flip over the next card, and in this one, I have to do 4 damage. It's going to score me 3 clues, and it's going to do 1 damage, 1 wound to me if I don't defeat it. So in that case, I would probably take these 3 orange dice and this blue die, roll them, and then this blue die always gives you an effect. You can either have 1 wound or one hit. This is an automatic wound to you. 2 hits to the card. This doubles up any roll that you want, or any die that you want, I should say. This is shoot, I forget what that is off the top of my head. That cancels 1 skull, so it'll take out one of these wounds. So if you don't defeat it, it basically blocks a wound. It's almost like armor. So that's that, and yeah. So in that case, I would have defeated this one, but all of my orange dice are gone. And then you just keep playing until you keep pushing your luck, until either you are run out of dice or out of wound cubes. There are some other cards in here that give you some surprises. Like this says, take a risk. You can discard your most powerful die, pass it to the next player, and gain 1 clue for this turn. So basically you can take this, like say you had this black die still in your pool, you could give that to the player next to you, and you'd automatically get a clue to score. Some cards also have special effects. So this card gives you 3 clues. You have to do 5. You have to roll 5 on the dice with it, but it's going to ignore any hits. Either the 1 or the 2 hits results on the blue die. And then there's cards that don't actually give you any clues at all. These just kind of burn your dice up on you. And then there's a hole in the floor. You lose a wound cube, and then discard this card and the next one, and then put that card putting the card after that into play. So yeah, so sometimes even if you keep going, you're going to automatically take wounds. This is the retail edition of the game. Yeah, I will. There are some Kickstarter cards. If you backed it on Kickstarter, they gave you some extra Kickstarter cards. But yeah, I figured I'd at least show off the retail edition, probably the edition that you're going to see most often on shelves. Let's go back up. I'll give you my final thoughts. So that's Hellboy the Dice Game. You have to gather 15 clues in order for play to stop. Once a player has achieved and has gathered 15 clues or more, then the other players get 1 more turn to kind of beat that score and become the winner of the game. Okay, it's like a good filler game if you want to play something that's like in between games. The one thing, we played it a few times the other night and really enjoyed it, me and the missus, and yeah, we thought it was good. The games came down pretty close. There was one game where like I had to gain 8 clues in order to win on my last turn. It got down to I rolled all of the dice, or the dice had gotten burned except for the black die, and I flipped over the card, and it had like a 3 damage card that gave me, I think it was 3 clues. It got me right over to that the amount of clues that I needed to get in order to win. And I rolled the die. I knew I had a good chance of winning, but it still wasn't quite guaranteed. And sure enough, I rolled the blue die. It came up with the reroll symbol, and I rolled 3 hits on the black die and won. But there was that great tension where we were just like, oh, am I going to do it? I'm going to do it. And yeah, that was fun. I think that's what this game is trying to achieve. Like I said with the dice game, if you've got the board game already and you don't have the dice game and you're looking to add more dice to your board game, it's a good way to do it. And then you get this little dice game that kind of, or this little dice game to kind of go along with it. Do I think that this is a dice game for everybody? Probably not. There's a lot of randomness to it. But sometimes that's what you just want. You just want a fun little game that kind of gets you, it feels like 10 minutes to get you through to the next game. The one thing that I will say is that what they did with this game, and I feel like Mantic does this quite a bit, which is not a negative by any chance, is that they take items and components from games and then kind of repurpose them. And that's what this definitely feels like because of the dice and the wound cubes. Those are definitely from those items are from the board game. And then they just added some cards along with it and the sheet of instructions, which is fine. Good for them for making a product out of repurposing some items that they probably already had quite a bit of and made a new product with it. It would be nice if maybe they sold just that pack of cards, just shrink wrapped and sold it like on their website to folks that have the board game, and then that way you're all good to go. You could probably even fold this down so that it folds up behind that deck of cards, and then shrink wrap it. And if folks have the board game, then they can pick this game up pretty easily and not have to buy more dice and wound cubes. They can just use the ones that they have already in their board games. I think that this game retails for about $20. Is it worth it for $20 or more? I don't know. I would say if you can get it for less, definitely get it for less. And it's just kind of a neat game to kind of have in your backpack and play at a con while you're like waiting in line for a panel or something, or you're just kind of waiting for people to show up for a session. Yeah, I think that it does a good job at that. The rules are pretty easy to learn. I think all the cards that are in the retail game that we encountered are well written, well explained. I know some of the Kickstarter cards that came with the Kickstarter because Mantic did a Kickstarter for more content for the board game, which I backed. It's behind me. It also came with a copy of the dice game, and I think there were Kickstarter only cards for the dice game that came in that campaign, and I think a lot of those are very unclear. I don't feel like I missed out on anything by not playing with those cards in this game. I think it's a super light game anyway, so to make it even more complex probably wouldn't be something that I would be into. Like I said, the components are good. I think the components are really good quality. It's got pretty good replayability. I don't know if I'd play it all the time, but like I said, it would be you play it occasionally. The theme, I don't really think it's all that thematic. Even my wife was like, what's this have to do with Hellboy? I'm like, yeah, you're kind of trying to defeat these things on the card. And she's like, yeah, you kind of almost put almost anything on these cards. And I'm like, yeah, you could. This is true. But, Hellboy's a cool IP. And I understand why, Mantic made a dice game for it. Just because you got that IP, it'll sell. And, yeah, I don't think it's horrible. I don't think it's outstanding by any chance, but it's a fun little dice game that if you find it for probably less than $20, go pick it up. And especially if you're looking for more dice for your Hellboy board game. Anyway, that's going to do it for this review. If you enjoyed it, please hit that like button down below. And if you like the Hellboy board game or the dice game from Mantic, let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear from you because I love the board game. I think it's super fun, and I one of my favorite, I don't want to call it a dungeon crawl, but I guess it is a dungeon crawl that has been put out over the last few years. In fact, so much it's the first board game that I've actually painted the whole complete base game of, and I don't think I've ever done that before in my collection. So, all right, that's going to do it. My name is Doug. Remember, winning shouldn't be the only victory condition when you get to the table. We'll see you next time. This video is brought to you by Black Moon Games. Check out their products at shop-black-moon.com. Thanks so much for watching this video. This video would not be possible without these people right here, the names that are on screen that you're seeing scroll by. Those are all our generous patrons on Patreon. They help keep this content flowing. And if you'd like to have your name added to that list, check out our Patreon. Just go to patreon.com/Victory Condition Gaming. We have a few different levels. We've got some that you just give us a tip every month and you have access to our Discord, a special role there, or there's even a $10 a month level where I send you 2 signed limited RPG books a year in June and December. Check it out. I appreciate it. If you've gone all this way and you haven't already, I'd really greatly appreciate it if you hit that subscribe button and that like button down below. That helps grow our show even more. And I appreciate that greatly. Thanks so much.